I sat on the edge of my father's sofa, my hands folded so tightly my fingers hurt. "Why are you looking at me like that?" I asked, forcing a small laugh. No one answered. Linda sighed softly. "You see, this is what I mean. She always thinks something is wrong." "I didn't say anything," I said. "You didn't have to," Linda replied gently. "Your face says everything." My father cleared his throat. "Linda's just worried about you." "I'm worried about me too," I said. "That doesn't mean I'm lying." Daniel shifted beside me. I turned to him. "Say something." He stared at the floor. "I don't want to fight." "So you'll let them say I'm crazy?" I asked. Linda shook her head. "No one said crazy. We said jealous." The word hit harder than a slap. "Jealous of who?" I asked. Linda smiled sadly. "Of happiness. Of stability. Of a marriage you think is slipping away." I laughed, sharp and dry. "You're talking like you live inside my head." "I've watched you grow up," she said. "I know when you're insecure." I remembered calling her mom the first year she married my father. I remembered believing she protected me. "I'm not insecure," I said. "I'm confused." Daniel finally looked at me. His eyes slid away fast. "You've been accusing me for weeks." "I've been asking questions," I said. "Questions that hurt," he replied. "Truth hurts," I said. "Lies poison slowly." Linda leaned forward. "Listen to yourself. You sound dramatic." Mrs. Collins from next door nodded. "I heard her shouting last night." "I wasn't shouting," I said. "I was crying." "See?" Linda said softly. "Emotional." My chest felt tight. "Why does everyone believe you?" "Because I don't attack people," she said. I stood up. "I'm not attacking. I'm asking why my husband comes home smelling like someone else's perfume." Daniel snapped. "That's enough." "That's the first thing you've said," I replied. My father raised his hand. "Sit down." "I won't," I said. "Not while I'm being labeled." Linda stood too. "We are trying to help." "By telling people I'm jealous." I asked. "It explains your behavior," she said calmly. "What behavior?" I demanded. "Trusting my instincts." Daniel whispered, "Please stop." "Why?" I asked him. "Because the truth makes you uncomfortable." Silence filled the room. I looked at every face. "Tell me what I did wrong." No one answered. Linda spoke instead. "You imagine threats because you're afraid of being replaced." My heart pounded. Replaced by who? She didn't answer. I swallowed hard. "I loved you. I defended you. I believed you." She reached for my arm. I pulled away. "Don't touch me," I said. Daniel finally met my eyes. "You're tearing this family apart." I laughed again, louder this time. "I didn't start this." "Then end it," my father said. "Apologize." "For what?" I asked. "For doubting us," Linda said. I shook my head. "I won't apologize for feeling something is wrong." Linda's voice softened. "Then accept the consequences." I sat back down. My legs felt weak. Inside my head, one thought kept repeating. If I am crazy, why does my heart feel so sure? Daniel rubbed his face. "Can we drop this?" "No," I said. "You want silence because silence protects you." Linda folded her arms. "You're projecting." "I'm observing," I replied. "There's a difference." Mrs. Collins whispered, "This is uncomfortable." "It should be," I said. "Truth usually is." My father looked tired. "What do you want?" "I want honesty," I said. One clear answer. Daniel shook his head. "You're obsessed." "With my own life." I asked. Linda stepped between us. "You're hurting him." "He's hurting me," I replied. She smiled thinly. "Marriage isn't about feelings all the time." "It was when you taught me what love meant," I said. Her smile faltered. "I saw it." "You misremember," she said quickly. "No," I whispered. "You changed." Daniel stood. I can't do this. Because you're afraid, I said. He walked toward the door. I need air. Run, I said. You're good at that. The door slammed. My father stared at me. Look what you caused. I met his eyes. Look what you allowed. Linda exhaled. You're proving my point. I nodded. Keep telling that story. She frowned. What story? That I'm jealous, I said. Say it enough, and maybe you'll believe it too. She leaned close. No one will ever choose you over me. I stood again. Then watch what happens when I stop asking to be chosen. There. I used to tell people my marriage felt safe. I trust you, I told Daniel the night he proposed. He smiled and said, I'll never give you a reason not to. I believed him because I wanted to. We met at a friend's birthday party. He listened when I talked. He remembered small details. He held my hand like it mattered. You make everything quiet, I told him once. That's what love does, he said. After we married, quiet slowly became empty. Did you eat? I asked one night. Not hungry, he said, scrolling his phone. What's funny? I asked. Work stuff, he replied too fast. Dinner plates sat untouched between us. You're distant, I said. I'm tired, he answered. I nodded, even when my chest felt tight. Linda noticed before I admitted it. You shouldn't nag him, she told me while pouring tea. Men hate pressure. I'm not nagging, I said. I'm talking. Same thing sometimes, she replied with a smile. Daniel started coming home late. Traffic, he said. Every night. I asked. You're counting now, he snapped. I stopped asking. At family dinners, Linda sat closer to him than me. You look exhausted, she told him. She works you too hard. I do not, I said. Daniel laughed. She worries too much. Linda touched his arm. Sensitive souls always do. I felt invisible at my own table. One night I asked, Do you still want this? He didn't look up. Want what? Us, I said. He sighed. Why are you like this? Like what? I asked. Always searching for problems, he said. I watched his phone light up. Who's calling? I asked. No one, he said, turning it face down. I told myself not to push. I told myself love needed patience. Linda called during our arguments. You should apologize, she said. Men shut down when attacked. I wasn't attacking, I replied. I was hurting. Hurt doesn't mean betrayal, she said calmly. Daniel started smiling more at his screen than at me. Do you still love me? I asked quietly one night. He rubbed his face. Why do you need reassurance all the time? Because I feel alone, I said. You're married, he replied. You're not alone. It sounded like a fact, not a promise. I noticed whispered calls outside. Who was that? I asked once. Just someone from work, he said. Why whisper? I asked. Privacy, he replied. Linda backed him instantly. You should respect boundaries, she told me. Marriage isn't ownership. I know, I said. But secrecy feels heavy. Only if you imagine weight, she replied. I started doubting myself. Maybe I was too emotional. Maybe love really did look like silence. One night I reached for him in bed. I'm tired, he said, turning away. I miss you, I whispered. He didn't answer. In the dark, my thoughts screamed louder than my voice. I remembered how safe he once felt. I wondered when safety turned into distance. At breakfast I said, We don't talk anymore. He drank his coffee. We talk enough. Enough for who? I asked. For normal people, he said. Linda later added, You expect too much. I smiled and nodded like I understood. Inside, I was afraid. Afraid to look closer. Afraid to lose my marriage. Afraid the truth would leave me with nothing. So I swallowed questions. I ignored late nights. I ignored secret smiles. I ignored my instincts. Until one evening I finally said, Something is wrong. Daniel looked at me, tired and cold. You're just overthinking again. Linda smiled before I even entered the room. There you are, she said warmly. We were just talking about you. My stomach tightened. Talking about what? How worried we all are, she replied, placing a hand on my shoulder. You've seemed so fragile lately. I'm not fragile, I said. She laughed softly. See? Defensive already. My aunt nodded. Linda always notices these things. I live with her, Linda said. I see what others don't. I sat down slowly. Then say it to me directly. She poured tea like nothing was wrong. You should be grateful for Daniel. I am, I said. That doesn't mean I stop asking questions. Questions create distance, she replied. Men don't like being doubted. I don't doubt, I said. I feel. She tilted her head. That's the problem. You feel too much. The words sank deep. Mrs. Collins smiled at Linda. She's always been sensitive. I was gentle with her, Linda said. I tried to guide her. I looked at my father. Do you hear this? He stared at his cup. Linda means well. She always does, Linda said calmly. I remembered being 10 years old, crying in this same room. You need to be stronger, Linda had told me then. I asked quietly, why do you talk about me like I'm not here? She sighed. Because when we talk to you, you don't listen. I'm listening now, I said. You're reacting, she corrected. Daniel walked in and kissed her cheek. Rough day? She asked him. Long, he said. She turned to me. You see how hard he works. I know, I replied. I live with him. You don't see him, she said gently. You see your fears. My hands trembled. Why do you always defend him? Because someone has to, she answered. I asked Daniel, do you feel attacked? He shrugged. I feel tired. Linda nodded. That's what I mean. Neighbors stopped by later. She's such a devoted wife, Linda told them about me. Just overwhelmed. I smiled because everyone was watching. She worries too much, Linda added with a laugh. I felt small again. Later, in the kitchen, I whispered, why do you tell people these things? She rinsed a cup slowly. Because they are true. They make me look unstable, I said. They explain your behavior, she replied. I trusted you, I said. She looked surprised. You still should. I feel powerless, I admitted. That's because you don't know your place, she said softly. I swallowed hard. What place is that? The one where you don't question what you're given. My father walked in. I looked at him. Say something. He hesitated. Linda's trying to help. Help who? I asked. The family, he said. I nodded slowly. Not me. Linda touched my arm. You have everything people dream of. Then why do I feel empty? I asked. Because you compare, she said. You envy stability. I don't envy you, I said. Her smile sharpened. You do. My chest burned. Why do you enjoy this? She leaned closer. Enjoy what? Watching me doubt myself, I said. She lowered her voice. I'm protecting what matters. And I don't. I asked. She studied my face, then whispered so only I could hear. No one will ever choose you over me. Daniel grabbed his keys and said, Work called. I'll be late. I asked. Again. He didn't look at me. Don't start. I'm not starting, I said. I'm asking. You're tired, he replied. Go to bed. The door closed before I could answer. I stood there, listening to the silence he left behind. Inside my head, something whispered, Follow him. I grabbed my coat and said out loud, I just want clarity. My hand shook as I locked the door. I followed his car at a distance. Don't panic, I told myself. You're just checking. He didn't go toward his office. Wrong turn, I whispered. Another turn. Another. My heart pounded. Please be wrong. Then I saw the street. My father's street. I slowed down. No, I said softly. Not here. Daniel parked. A second car pulled in moments later. Linda's car. I stopped breathing. This doesn't mean anything, I whispered. It can't. I parked farther down and stepped out. Each step felt heavy. Don't jump to conclusions, I told myself. You're emotional. I walked closer. Lights were on inside. I saw movement through the window. 2 shadows. Laughing. I froze. That's not what I think, I said. That's not what it is. I raised my phone. My fingers trembled. Just in case. I zoomed in. Daniel's face appeared clearly. Relaxed. Smiling. I swallowed hard. I've never seen him smile like that with me. Linda stepped into view. She touched his arm. He leaned closer. My vision blurred. This isn't real. They laughed again. The sound cut through me. I pressed the button. Click. Another photo. Click. My hands felt numb. Stop, I whispered. Please stop. They moved toward the hallway. I stepped closer to the window. I heard Linda's voice, soft and familiar. You worry too much, she said. Daniel laughed. She always has. I felt something break inside my chest. I trusted you, I whispered. Not as a wife. As a daughter. I leaned against the wall, shaking. Go inside, a voice in my head said. Confront them. Another voice answered. Silence will hurt them more. I chose silence. I backed away slowly. Each step felt like leaving a piece of myself behind. In the car, I stared at my phone. The photos glowed on the screen. Proof. I laughed once, short and broken. They'll say I imagined this too, I said. My chest hurt. But I know what I saw. I drove home slowly. Every street felt different. Every memory felt fake. At home, I sat on the bed. I scrolled through the photos again. Daniel's smile. Linda's hand. Their closeness. I whispered, so this is why. Tears fell, but I didn't wipe them. I wasn't crazy, I said. I felt rage rise, then sink. I won't scream, I told myself. I won't beg. I lay back and stared at the ceiling. The house felt empty. My phone buzzed. Daniel texted, running late. Don't wait up. I laughed softly. You're good, I said. I turned the phone face down. Inside me, something changed. Not anger. Clarity. I held the phone to my chest. These photos are truth, I whispered. I closed my eyes. I knew then my life had split in two. There was everything before this night. And everything after. I smiled when Daniel walked into the kitchen and said, You're up early. I replied, Couldn't sleep. He nodded. Busy day. Always, I said. Inside, my chest felt tight, but my face stayed calm. You seem different, he said. Tired, I answered. Work. He accepted it too easily. Linda noticed too. You've been quiet, she said later. Feeling better. I am, I replied. She smiled wider. I knew it would pass. Daniel grew careless. He left his phone unlocked. He laughed louder at messages. You're in a good mood, I said once. Things are simpler, he replied. Linda grew confident. She corrected me in front of people. She exaggerates, she said lightly. I smiled and said nothing. Silence felt like swallowing glass. Every smile hurt. Every meal felt fake. I repeated one sentence in my head. Not yet. Emily noticed. You're acting calm, she said over coffee. I'm surviving, I replied. She leaned closer. Tell me. I hesitated. Promise you won't doubt me. She grabbed my hand. Never. I took out my phone. I showed her the photos. She gasped. Oh my God. I didn't imagine it, I said. No, she said firmly. You didn't. I felt my throat tighten. Everyone says I'm jealous. She shook her head. They're lying to protect themselves. I'm scared, I admitted. Not of truth. Then what? She asked. Being blamed, I said. Again. She squeezed my hand. I believe you. That belief steadied me. I don't want revenge, I said slowly. I want clarity. You want justice, she corrected. I want my life back, I replied. She nodded. Then be smart. That night I searched quietly. I called Mark. I need discretion, I told him. That's my specialty, he said. I'm not dramatic, I said. I'm careful. Careful people survive, he replied. We met without names. I said, I don't want exposure yet. Good, he said. Truth works best when timed. I asked, will this destroy me? He answered, truth only destroys lies. I went home and cooked dinner. Daniel said, you're quiet. I'm thinking, I replied. About what? He asked. Tomorrow, I said. Linda called later. You've been distant, she said. I'm learning, I replied. Learning what? She asked. Patience, I said. She laughed. You always lack that. I smiled. People change. At night, I stared at the ceiling. Part of me wanted to scream. Part of me wanted revenge. Another part whispered, wait. I imagined confronting them. I imagined silence. Silence felt stronger. I checked my phone. No messages. I slept lightly. Days passed. Daniel slipped up more. Linda grew bold. I stayed calm. Mark called quietly. I'm gathering threads, he said. How long? I asked. As long as needed, he replied. I exhaled slowly. I don't want to rush, I said. Good, he answered. I looked at my reflection. I'm not weak, I told myself. I was choosing survival. I was choosing timing. Before hanging up, Mark said one thing. Truth doesn't rush. It waits. Daniel slammed the drawer shut and said, Did you move my wallet? I looked up. Why would I? There was more cash, he said. I know there was. I don't touch your things, I replied. He paced. It doesn't make sense. Nothing has for a while, I said. He stopped and stared at me. What's that supposed to mean? Exactly what it sounds like, I replied. His phone rang. He answered too fast. Yes, no. I said I'd handle it. I watched his face tighten. After the call, I asked, Problem? Work, he snapped. I nodded. Of course. Later, Linda snapped at a cashier. Do you know who I am? She demanded. I stood beside her quietly. On the drive home, she said, People are getting stupid. Or impatient, I replied. She glanced at me. You're enjoying this. I'm observing, I said. At work, Sarah leaned against my desk. You're calm lately, she said. I feel clear, I replied. She smiled. Something changed. Something settled, I said. She lowered her voice. People are talking. About me. I asked. About them, she said. I felt a strange peace. At dinner, Daniel counted money twice. This doesn't add up, he muttered. Maybe you forgot, I said. He glared. I don't forget. Linda interrupted. Stop blaming her. He snapped. I wasn't. She snapped back. You're stressed. I stayed silent. Silence made them louder. Neighbors stopped whispering when I passed. Mrs. Collins said, Funny how stories change. I smiled. Truth moves slowly. Linda called me later. Are you telling people things? She asked. No, I said. Why? They're looking at me differently, she snapped. Maybe they're noticing, I replied. She hung up. Mark met me the next day. Accounts don't match, he said. I asked, Enough? More than enough, he replied. I took a breath. I'm ready. Ready for what? He asked. To speak, I said. He nodded. Not to punish. To reclaim, I replied. At home, Daniel said, Why are people asking questions? Maybe they're curious, I said. He laughed nervously. About what? About honesty, I replied. He went quiet. Linda confronted me in the hallway. You think you're clever, she hissed. I think I'm awake, I said. You're ruining things, she snapped. Lies ruin themselves, I replied. Her voice rose. You're jealous. I met her eyes. Still. She pointed at me. You want attention. I want truth, I said. She laughed too loud. You're unstable. People looked over. Good. I said calmly. Say it louder. She did. You're jealous and ungrateful, she shouted. I felt no fear. Only redness. I thought, let them hear. Everyone sat around the table like this was an intervention. Linda spoke first. We are here because this tension has gone too far. Daniel nodded. It's exhausting. My father rubbed his temples. Let's just be honest. I stayed quiet. Linda looked at me. You've made people uncomfortable. Daniel added, you keep implying things. I said nothing. Mrs. Collins leaned forward. We all feel the strain. Linda sighed. She won't communicate. My father finally looked at me. Do you want to say something? My heart pounded, but my voice stayed still. Not yet. Daniel scoffed. See? Linda shook her head sadly. This silence is manipulation. I folded my hands under the table. Speak up, my father said. Defend yourself. I took a breath. When I'm invited. Linda snapped. You're invited now. I stood slowly. My hand shook as I reached into my bag. Daniel laughed nervously. What is this? I placed my phone on the table. The shaking stopped. I opened the screen and slid it forward. One photo. Then another. Then more. Gasps filled the room. Linda whispered, What is this? Daniel said loudly, Those are fake. I said nothing. My father stared. Daniel. He stood. She's lying. Linda started crying. How could you accuse me? I finally spoke. You taught me not to speak without proof. Silence dropped like a wall. Linda sobbed harder. She's always been jealous. I felt calm. Jealousy doesn't take timestamps. Daniel shouted, You followed me. Yes, I said. That's insane, he snapped. No, I replied. That's awareness. My father's voice cracked. Linda. She covered her face. She misunderstood. I said quietly, There are more. Daniel sank into his chair. Mrs. Collins whispered, Oh my. Linda screamed, She planned this. I looked at her. You planned everything else. She pointed at me. You're ruining this family. I shook my head. You did. Daniel pleaded, Please don't believe her. I met his eyes. I believed you for years. My father stood. Get out. Daniel asked, Who? My father looked at him. You. Linda screamed, You're choosing her. He whispered, I'm choosing truth. I sat down slowly. My chest felt light. Linda stared at me with hate. You won't win. I smiled faintly. I already did. No one spoke. For the first time, I wasn't asking to be heard. I was believed. Daniel's voice was sharp when he barged into the room. Please. I didn't mean for it to happen. I didn't ask for your permission, I said calmly. He fell to his knees. I love you. I swear. Don't hate me. I don't hate, I said. I see clearly now. Linda slammed her hands on the table. This is your fault. You provoked him. I provoked nothing, I replied, my voice steady. Truth provoked itself. Daniel looked up at me, eyes wide. I can fix this. I'll do anything. You can't fix betrayal, I said softly. You only learn from it. He shook his head. I didn't think. I know, I said. That's the problem. Thinking never caught you before. Linda glared at me. You're ruining my life. Your life? I asked. This is what you made of it. The lawyer's voice cut in. The restraining order is granted, and all assets will be frozen pending investigation. Daniel groaned. Everything, gone. Yes, I said. including the illusions you both clung to. Linda turned to me, her face pale. Neighbors, friends, they can't know the truth. They do, I replied. And they believe it. I noticed how people stopped waving when Linda walked by. The whispers followed her. Doors closed. Invitations disappeared. Daniel's former confidence crumbled. I mocked you for being paranoid, he admitted. And now, look at me. I shrugged. Paranoia doesn't steal lives. Choices do. He buried his face in his hands. I never wanted this. You wanted convenience, I said. You wanted secrecy. That's what brought you here. Linda whimpered. Please, can you forgive me? I leaned back. Forgiveness doesn't mean access. Her lips trembled. But, I'm still family. You were family in name, I said. Actions define the rest. I walked past her, feeling a strange weight lift. Daniel whispered, You'll move on. I already have, I replied. Outside, I could hear gossip spreading. People averted their eyes when she walked through the neighborhood. I watched from the window as her shoulders slumped. Inside, Daniel had nothing left to hide behind. The mansion, the money, the respect, they all crumbled. I can't believe it, he muttered. Believe the truth, I said. It's simpler. The silence between us was heavy, but I felt calm. I felt clarity. I felt nothing but control. The lawyer returned documents. You're free to reclaim what's yours. I nodded. I already have. Daniel looked up, hopeless. I thought. I could manipulate everything. You could manipulate only until the truth arrived, I said. Linda whimpered again. I'm sorry. You're sorry people saw it, I replied. Not that you did it. Her sobs echoed. I realized then that accountability and apology were separate. You will not enter my life again, I said firmly. She nodded, unable to speak. Daniel whispered, I lost it all. Yes, I said. And now you know fear isn't empty. It's earned. I walked to the door, looked back once, and said, Life moves forward. You can't force it to rewind. The room stayed silent, and I felt the quiet strength of someone who survived betrayal, not as a victim, but as someone who reclaimed their life. I closed the door behind me. Linda asked once more, Can you forgive me? I smiled faintly. Forgiveness doesn't mean access. Remember that. I stepped outside and breathed the first real air of freedom I'd felt in years. I wake up in my apartment and breathe without restraint. No one else's voice fills the air. No one's expectations press against me. Peace, I whisper, letting it settle around me. The coffee brews slowly. I sip it without distraction. I remember how tense mornings used to be. Daniel leaving, Linda's smile in the background, my father's silence. I shake my head. Not anymore. I glance at my phone. The photos remain, quiet witnesses. Not to accuse. Not to hurt. Only to remind me why I stayed calm. I pick one up, study it carefully. Then another. I smile faintly. I was never jealous, I was aware. A message pings. It's from my father. I'm sorry, he types. I read it slowly, letting it sink. I type back, accepted. That's enough. No explanations. No arguments. No reopening wounds. The weight of years lifts slightly. I stand by the window, sunlight spilling across my floor. I think of Daniel, of Linda, of the lies that shaped my nights. Not anger. Not hatred. Only clarity. I scroll through the photos one last time. Each one reminds me of the truth I carried silently, the voice I reclaimed carefully. I delete them. Nothing remains on the phone. Nothing remains in my hands. Nothing remains in my mind but quiet understanding. The silence around me is no longer empty. It is proof. Proof that I survived. Proof that truth matters more than comfort. Proof that I will not let others define me. The apartment feels larger than before. My thoughts are sharper. My breaths come steady. I feel my heart, whole and unafraid. I remember the nights I trembled. The nights I followed instincts. The nights I listened when no one else would. I smile softly. The past shaped me, but it does not bind me. I sip my coffee again. I feel self-respect as clearly as warmth in my hands. I speak to no one, yet the room hums with my clarity. The lessons are mine. The victories quiet, but real. I think of Linda, her mask, and her anger. I feel no triumph over her pain. I feel only relief that I can now live unshaken. I think of Daniel, his arrogance, and his excuses. I feel no revenge. Only the understanding that I never needed him to see the truth. I look around my apartment, simple and calm. Everything I need is here. Everything I want is within my reach. No one can intrude without my permission. I am my own witness. I am my own protector. I am aware. I sit down and close my eyes. I whisper to myself, finally free. They said I was jealous, but jealousy never needed proof. Truth did.